Welcome to War Thunder. I've been playing this game for a little while now, and I thought it was time to show you some of the super cool stuff that I've unlocked so far. I actually got into this game way back in 2013, before the rush of Battlefield 4 whisked me away, but I always seem to find a little bit of time to come back to this game, and it's because I'm really interested in these kind of things. So, I've been ranking up the RAF, and now you can see the result of my efforts. You're currently looking at a fully researched Mark 1A Supermarine Spitfire, and obviously the eyes make it even more menacing in the sky. This Mark 1A isn't all that different to the Mark 2A that I've got as well. The only real difference between these two planes is that the Mark 2A has a newer Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, and it produced roughly 100 more brake horsepower. It could fly at higher altitudes than the Mark 1A, but overall it was slightly heavier due to like a design change, which resulted in a lower top speed. But regardless of which of the marks you talk about with the Spitfire though, you cannot deny that it's arguably the most iconic fighter of the Second World War. I mean, sure, the Bf 109 is pretty well known due to its extensive use by the German Luftwaffe, and that plane outflew the old star of the RAF, which was the Hawker Hurricane. But when it came to the Battle of Britain, the Spitfire became like this symbol of resistance for the British people. After that famous battle, the Spitfire did actually become the centrepiece of the RAF, shunting the Hurricane to one side. Each new model of the plane saw massive improvements over the last, and not always in terms of power, but by the end of the war, the Spitfire had become vastly superior to what it was when it was first introduced. That thing used the original Merlin engine, as I said, from Rolls-Royce, but by the end of the war the Spitfire was using the Griffin engine, which produced a massive 2,340 brake horsepower, which was roughly 1,300 brake horsepower more than the original fighter. So this thing had nearly 120% more power than the original plane. But perhaps the most iconic part of the Spitfire was its elliptical wing design, which is one of the many improvements the plane went through during its life. The original designer, R.J. Mitchell, chose the design because it allowed the plane to cause less drag through the air, so it didn't get pulled back, and it was much more aerodynamic to use that design, and that meant it was much easier to maneuver. But with that design, they wanted to make it as thin as possible, but they couldn't make it so thin because the wings would bend while you were in combat or flying through the air. Depending on wind changes, then the wings could actually change shape. So they had to make it slightly more bulky than they originally wanted to. It had to sort of house the framework of the wing as well to stop it twisting in mid-air, and it also had to house 8 Browning machine guns. And through all that design work, it is actually said that the reason Mitchell chose the design is because he thought it looked nice. That kind of guy is on my scale of thinking. If I'm playing Battlefield or if I'm playing any game, if something looks good, then I'm going to use it. And Mitchell is said to have went for that design when he was designing the Spitfire, just because the wings looked good. So, what's this thing like to fly in game then? Well, it's pretty satisfying, especially when you have to spend your time ranking up in biplanes like the Nimrod to even get yourself close to owning a Spitfire. It's so much more fun to fly because you've got some real grunt behind you. The biplanes are really slow but extremely quick to turn. The Spitfire gives you some more power to get away from chasing planes, and overall, if you're going faster, I would just say that the experience is just better. Another upside is the firepower that you've got. As I mentioned, under the wings are 8 Browning machine guns, and these things are much more powerful than the things you will find on a biplane. Those things only have 2 7.62 caliber machine guns, which frankly sound like pea shooters in comparison to these bad boys. But just like any of the planes you fly, you'll only fly against people of the same rank, and theoretically the same skill level as you. So right now I'm playing against a bunch of rank 6 to rank 8 players, and when you're in the biplanes you'll only face players who are in the same rank bracket as you. The planes do cross over, so sometimes you'll have like a mix of bombers like the Beaufort, or biplanes like the Nimrod, and fighters like the Bf 109, the Spitfire, the Hurricane, or even the P-51 Mustang, which I'll be showing off in a later video. But the idea behind it is that you're never going to be fighting somebody who's ridiculously more powerful than you are. So when you're getting into this game, don't be afraid that you're just in a little biplane and someone else is in a Spitfire. They're still within the same rank as you, so theoretically they're going to be either just as good or just as bad at the game as you are. And the really nice thing about this game, and one thing that I really appreciate, is that you're not split into teams based on the planes that you're flying. And by that I mean that the nationalities of planes from World War II are all just fighting each other. So in this footage already, I think you've seen me take down a Spitfire with my own Spitfire. It's a good game design choice because you're not limited to one set of planes if you want to rank your way up and stay with those planes. Everybody's just against each other, and I think that just makes it more fun overall. So there you have it, a bit of background about the Spitfire, and a commitment from me that I'm going to bring a little bit more of War Thunder to the channel, so look out for that. War Thunder is free to play. There's a link in the description that you can go and click on, sign up and check the game out. It's also on PS4 now as well, so that link will allow you to sign up on PC and then you can log in on your PS4. But thank you very much for watching today. Leave me a rating and a comment if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.